All right, I'd like to welcome everyone to our Know How Nordonia session. And this session is going to be a little different than we have done in the past because we have some mystery guests with us. And I wanted to bring in people from other districts that are going through what we're going through in terms of our one-to-one initiative with Chromebooks and have them share their experiences with them to date, as well as how is it going in their district. And actually the district that I'm talking about is not too far down the road. It is the Woodridge School District. So they are here with us. We have some of their teachers as well as their technology integration specialist. Her name is Michelle Walder, and this is her first year in the job, kind of like me. So we're in this together, and they are a Chromebook district in grades 6 through 12. They are one-to-one, and in grades 3, 4, and 5, they have carts with Chromebooks, just like we have in Nordonia as well. For the Woodridge folks that might be watching this later, we in Nordonia have a one-to-one initiative going on now. It's a 2-year process. We are 1-8 right with Chromebooks, and then next year we will be one-to-one with Chromebooks at the high school, so grades 10 through 12, 9 through 12, and then grades 3 and 4 will also be getting Chromebooks one-to-one. So it's a 2-year initiative. We're in our first year. It's going really well. Teachers are doing some really, really amazing things. The students are really, really embracing everything. They're loving having the Chromebooks and having the technology capabilities. So it's going really, really well. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Michelle. And Michelle, I'll go ahead and let you take over. And then if you want to share your screen or share whatever you want to share, it is all yours.
Thanks, Angela. Hi, guys. My name is Michelle Walder, and as Angela said, I'm the Technology Integration Specialist for Woodridge Local Schools. We are one-to-one 6-12 in our Chromebook initiative, which we, of course, lovingly call Project Connect. And it's going well so far. I think a lot of teachers are diving in. We have a lot of teachers who did the pilot last year who are kind of our champions. They're picking up and running with it with their students and with other staff members. We have other teachers who are kind of, just beginners, and they're just starting to kind of tiptoe into the Google Kool-Aid, if you will. But they're really picking up and running with it, so we're pretty happy. Angela also mentioned that we have carts in 3, 4, and 5, so they just got those within the past couple of weeks, due to some technical issues down in the building. So they are now jumping in, and we'll be getting some training and working with the kids with that. We are currently coming up with a plan for K-1-2, and just to kind of see what they can do, what they need, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I would say that our Chromebook initiative is going well. Overall, we're pretty happy with it. Very few bugs, but that being said, we really do have our training wheels on. Even our champions who have been running with this for over a year now are still learning a few things, picking up a few things. The kids are teaching us things every day as they discover them. As I'm learning things, I'm shooting out emails or running into classrooms going, oh my gosh, this is amazing, wait till you see this. And then we go, a little nerdy. So life is good. Life is good over at Woodridge. So speaking of things to share with you, I do want to actually share my screen here with you, as I actually have a few things to, share with you.
Those are the tunnels.
I do have the tunnel. How do I get rid of the tunnels?
Is there another share screen box that you can select? If not, then just open up that, whatever you want to show, open that up in a new tab.
So, nope, there's just share screen.
And just one box pops up.
Yes,
or open
this
up a new, you can always open, oh, we see it.
Was that good? Okay. So once we get our hangouts, we're good. See, training wheels. We're just learning, of course, Google likes to throw us little things like removing buttons and changing stuff on us. So right now I am working on a student orientation for our Project Connect. We have a lot of students who are coming from out of district who, some of them have never heard of Google Apps, who have never touched a Chromebook before, and they come in, we get them all set up, we hand them this Chromebook and kind of go, okay, bye, see ya. We want to kind of give them a little bit more support. So one of the things that will go into our student orientation and eventually out to my teachers as well are kind of some Chromebook shortcuts, because the Chromebooks are a little bit different from PCs. They're different from Macs. They're missing the home button. They're missing the end button, the delete button. There's all sorts of things. So I've put together, and Angela, you have a copy of this, so you are welcome to share it out to whoever needs it. It's fine, but I've put together a list of shortcuts, kind of must-have shortcuts that you as maybe a PC person or a Mac person can use to kind of get some work done. So the list is here. I'll send it out, but I also did want to show you when you hit, let's see here, it's Control Alt and question mark. Can you guys see this? I hope.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so on any Chromebook, hit Control Alt and question mark, and it will show you a keyboard, this black keyboard, and as you hit different buttons, like I'm hitting the Shift button right now, it will show you all of the shortcuts that are associated with the Shift button. If I add in Control, you'll see it's all the ones that if you hit Shift and Control and whatever button, there are more shortcuts there. Then let me let go and go to Alt. I've got Control and Alt down. And so they change. So it's kind of nice. It's a nice little shortcut that you can pop in and look at really quick, or you can hop over to the doc that I've sent to Angela. And my Woodridge folks, I will be sending this out to you hopefully in the next week or two, maybe right after Christmas. Okay. In this document, by the way, there's a link to the Google list of shortcuts as well. Oh, lovely. There we go. When I printed this out, it was 5 pages long, so there's a lot of them. You are welcome to use them, but again, don't get overloaded. Just start with the must-have ones and go from there. Okay. Woodridge folks, if you have any questions, you could of course can see me or Eric or Brian for more help. And then Angela, who would Nordonia go to?
They can email me directly about that, and I'm going to go ahead, if you're okay with it, Michelle. I'm going to put this. We actually have a Chromebook professional development folder that shared Google folder for our staff that we have on our Technology Weebly. So I'm just going to stick this in there for them. But yeah, they can. Kyle, Technology, Jason Witchy, any of us can really help with that.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, the next thing I'm going to share out with you is a site called Flippity. This is flippity.net. It is completely free. It works with Google Sheets. It is awesome. I've only been able to share this out with a handful of my teachers, so I'm trying to kind of push it out as much as I can. But Flippity is really cool because it's an online flashcard program, which, you probably use Quizlet. A lot of us use Quizlet. There are a few other ones around, but what's nice about Flippity is that it is integrated with Google Sheets. So the gentleman who runs this has all of the instructions you need, and I won't read them to you because that's just really boring. All the instructions you could possibly need on how to do this right on his page. If you click on more information down at the bottom, he's got frequently asked questions that you can look over. He's got a Twitter. He's got his email up there. You are welcome to use those. So as you click through his sample here, you'll see, let's see here, I believe it was, there it is. You'll see that you can actually add pictures, and I believe on the next one, yeah, you can embed YouTube videos on the flashcards as well. So, if you wanted to make up some flashcards for your kids to study for a test, or maybe you want them to make them up for your test and share out to others, you can have them put videos on there to really show your content in action. Now, Flippity doesn't just do all of this with the flashcards. It also has, let's see here, down here at the very bottom, it's got a couple different things built in as well that you can use. There is a quiz show, which is really cool, kind of a Jeopardy thing. So you would build this in Sheets, and I'll show you a sheet in a moment. But you build this in sheets with all the questions and the point values and all the answers and things. But on the fly, you can actually change the team name to whatever you would like. And then as your kids answer, you maybe have this up on your smartboard or up on your Promethean. You click on it. You've got the question right there. They answer it. You look at the answer and say, oh, Witteridge got it right. Great. And you award points to them. And then when you click back, you'll see that it actually keeps score for you, which is pretty sweet too. So let's see here. It does that. Let me close this here. There's also this really cool random name picker. And I like this because I think if I was still in the classroom and I wanted to split my kids up into teams, or if I needed like groups of 5 on the fly, or 2, 3, whatever you need, seating chart, he's got a whole bunch of stuff built in here. I could just create it, have that spreadsheet ready, pull up the random name picker, and just go for it. And then when your kids complain about, oh, I can't be in that group, well, I'm sorry, it was the Google. The Google chose the groups. Don't blame me, right? So there's that option. I also want to show you, this is new. I played with this the other day. It's a little bit limited, but if you are doing gamification in your classroom where you are assigning badges, you're certifying your kids, if you will, he does have a badge kind of thing going on here where you can assign badges to your kids. The only downside to it right now is that these are the only badges that are available. And from what I could see, let me go back here and give you the instructions. The template, you can only change just the names of kids. So you can't, oh, he might have changed it since I looked at it. See, I'm telling you, Google's changing everything on me. He had these already all filled in with the badge names. So I think it's a little bit limited as far as what you can do with it. But again, he just did this update in the past couple days, maybe last week, so maybe he's building on it. That being said, let me go back here. Ooh.
Sorry.
That's okay.
That's okay.
It's all good. It's all good. You have a progress indicator that you can play with. A little bit limited. There are a few other ones out there that might be a little bit better as far as keeping track of, if you wanted to look at standards or, objectives that you have for the kids to see how their progress is. There are some better ones out here. But if you're looking at maybe doing a canned food drive competition between the grades, or for like this one, he's doing like Books A Million kind of a thing where you keep track of how many pages kids are read. This would work for that. The last thing that he has up here is actually a certificate, like a quiz almost, that you can send out to your kids. So like for this one, it is, typing my name right is always a beautiful thing. There we go. So this one, he's actually certifying people in TV comedies. So you put in your little questions. You can put in pictures here. Let's say like this one's Michael Richards. And this one, what is that, 30 Rock, I think. Next, that one was a YouTube video, PS. So you can, link videos in there. Cheers takes place in Boston. And his nemesis is Will Wheaton. And Monica's brother is Ross. So then it grades it, and if they get it completely correct, it gives them a certificate, which they could print, or they could save as a PDF. Like we have save as PDF as an option. Then maybe you can have them turn it into Classroom for a grade. You can do anything with this that you want. Now, if they get one wrong, it will force them to go back through the quiz and figure out those ones that they got wrong before they get a certificate. So it's fun. It's easy to use. When you pull up a template, it goes right to Google Sheets. So I actually created this one. There's a great Shakespeare one. I put in questions and answers. This one, like the question was name 3 of his plays. So I just linked to a list of their plays that they could pull up and check their answers. Romeo and Juliet quotes here at the bottom. And this, you can actually put animated GIFs in as well, which is pretty sweet. Let me see here. Let me click on this, and then I'll show you the actual cards based off of this Google thing, my Google sheet. So again, it's just, there it is. What's the answer? Good. Anne Hathaway, not the actress, P.S. Let me skip to this one. Nope, not that one. This one. Who said this quote? It's Romeo with the animated GIF, of course. And this, I think this would make it really interesting for the kids if they're making these themselves, because, you know, a lot of them use GIFs online to, like, express any feelings or any emotions, reactions, whatever. So they love GIFs. Throw it in there. Life is good. And then, again, with another quote from Juliet, and then I've got a link to the old version of Romeo and Juliet, so they can play it right out of YouTube. For my Woodridge folks, as you know, YouTube is blocked on campus, so if you wanted to show this up on your smartboard or, you know, up on your projector, whatever you have, make sure that you bypass the filter before you start with Flippity for the class, so that way any of your YouTube videos will work. Now, I'm on my Chromebook, I should say. I'm at the house. I'm able to get to YouTube without bypassing the filter, so it should be good for the kids to use at the house. Okay. Any of my folks who are here have any questions? Nope. Come back. Whoop, let me stop this. There we go.
No, Michelle, I will add another badging tool if anyone is into badging. Credly, Credly is a website. If you just Google, I don't know if it's credly.com or I don't know the full URL, but Credly, you can create, you can upload any images and then make badges out of them. And then you actually can close it so that students have to enter in a code to access that badge.
Oh, nice.
So it's a really cool way if you want to start badging, or if you want to do some type of activity and you want to just give certain students badges, it kind of bypasses the whole thing, and I think it's a really nice tool, and it's free.
That's very cool to know. Very awesome. Thank you.
Sure.
I will say, Michelle, I use Flippity in my classroom all the time. I keep actually that tab open.
Oh, nice.
I have it one for each one, a folder for each one of my classes, and it's so nice because it keeps the kids kind of on task. Because I'm choosing their groups instead of having them choose their groups, so it's worked out really well.
How have the kids reacted? Do they like it?
They hate it.
Good. Good. Fabulous.
But that's okay, because I told them today, I'm like, you guys stay on task when you're with somebody that's not your best friend. So especially with 6th graders, this kind of switches up, and plus I can kind of manage my groups with certain kids that I know are difficult to work with, to have them work with kids that they get along with, so it's just nice.
That's good. That's good. And you can blame it on the Google. Just blame it on the Google, right? Okay, so I think we're going to pop over to Heather Schramm. She is one of our high school math teachers and one of my personal Google saviors. I'm a former English teacher, and I taught high school English. I'm AP certified. You know, I'm all the lit and writing nerd that you can be, but when it comes to math, oh baby, am I in trouble. So I usually go to Heather going, so about this. So I'm going to turn it over to her, and she's got a few things to share with you guys.
Hi, I'm Heather Schramm, and I have been Google certified for a year now. I have been a teacher for 8 years, and I've been implementing technology as much as possible in my classrooms, even more so now with the online testing platforms that the students have. And they also have a lot of online platforms for homework in colleges, especially with the hybrid math courses. So I wanted my students to be able to really use technology to their benefit after they leave high school even. And I had a few things to share with you that I just wanted to show you how some of these things can work in a mathematics classroom. Okay, let's see if I can get it on here. I have the tunnel.
Okay,
Okay.
there we go.
Is the tunnel on? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. This is just an example of an investigation activity that I made for my students. And what it is it has the students investigating lines, and they're just looking at the equations of lines here. And I created a GeoGebra file that I put on as a public file, and it's linked here, but I already have it open, so I'm just going to click over to it. And the object of this was for the students to take and drag the y-intercept and then count the slope either backwards or forwards and investigate the equations of the lines that we had. And what I wanted them to come to was, I wanted them to come to parallel lines. And then there were several questions here where they had to not only put in the equations, but then I just had them grab a screenshot of what they got as a result, because it told me that the students also knew how to graph a line using 2 points, whether they utilized intercept method and slope, or for some of the equations they might have done a point slope, because some of them are in point slope form down here. And then what they did was, after they graphed these 4 lines using the drag and drop of the points on the graph, they came to conclusions about what was happening. So the conclusion that I wanted them to come to was parallel lines here, and then there were 4 more questions where they got perpendicular lines. So the GeoGebra file was really meant to get the students graphing electronically rather than on paper, because I wanted them to use the kind of drag and drop technology that they're going to have to use on the air test. And then they screenshotted it as evidence that they actually knew how to drag and drop things around on the screen and that they were getting the correct answer. So that was very nice. Also, whenever you go into a file like this, what you can do is you can go into suggestion mode after the students are done, and all I did was just highlight the screenshots that were incorrect, and then I put in a new screenshot. And what it does, if you do that, is it takes whatever the students wrote and it crosses it out, and then it puts your suggestion in green, so the students can see what they did wrong. So you can give feedback electronically as well. One of the other things that I use quite frequently is Google Forms, and I don't ask very many questions in Google Forms, but this is an example of one of the ones that I ask the students to do. And when I give a Google form, I have them put in their first name, their last name, and then I have them select their class period. And the reason that I do that is because I can then sort the students by class period and then by last name, and it makes it very seamless to go ahead and put the grades into Progress Book. I can just copy them over very quickly from the spreadsheet. But in this one, they just had one homework problem when we started talking about complex solutions, and the homework problem was to create their own quadratic equation that had a complex solution. The nice thing about this is that when I get the answers back, it puts it into a nice, neat Google spreadsheet. And I hid the student names over here, but as you can see, I left the class periods. And what I can do then is I can take their A, B, and C, and then I just created a formula, and it gives me a really quick look to see which students knew that all they had to do was come up with a negative number. But I didn't create this formula on my own. I waited until the next day, and I did the same thing with the students where I hid their names. And then we talked about how can we check everyone's answers using a formula, because otherwise I have to do all of these problems by myself. So I thought that was very powerful for the students to see, like, where a formula is very useful in real life, because it's much easier to check all of these with one formula than it is to check each one of them individually. So I thought that was useful for a couple of different things, not only for the formula and being able to check the homework very quickly and give me a really good idea of whether or not students knew what they were doing, but it also gave the students a reason to use a formula as well, and it gave them a reason to identify the helpfulness of technology. The last thing that I have...
I'm sorry, it gave them some practice on Google Sheets as well, which they're not in very much yet.
Right. The other one that I have, and this is kind of a new creation for me because I am getting more used to using Google Docs on a more frequent basis because the kids actually have a Chromebook to take home this year, and that's new. Last year I had a cart, so I was one of the pilot teachers, but they didn't take the Chromebook home, so I still had to make sure that I had like paper assignments that they could do outside of the classroom because not all of our students had technology in their homes. But this one is very nice because I was trying to look for a way where I could have the students create a unit circle reference sheet, but I wanted them to do it electronically, and then I also wanted them to use some technology in the process. So I've discovered that you can do a drawing inside of Google Docs. And if you do a drawing inside of Google Docs, it allows you to put text boxes over top of it. So the students just went in here and they filled in the appropriate degrees. And I wrote out the word degrees because I was too impatient to figure out how to get the degree symbol in here because it doesn't have an insert equation button. But lo and behold, like 15 minutes into this lesson, a student raised their hand and said, all you have to do is Google degrees, copy the symbol from the text, and copy it into here. So
There you go.
it's really cool because students really end up teaching you just as much as you teach them when you do things like this. So my students had it all under control. They had the degree symbol in there, they had the pi symbol in there, and the whole 9 yards. And when you click save and close, it goes ahead and it edits what you put in, so you have a really nice copy here. The other thing that I wanted the students to get used to, and I've been trying to make sure that they have some experience with, is drag and drop. So what I did here is I created the same thing, and all of these are just pictures that they can drag and drop wherever they go. And then once they're finished, they have a really nice hard copy of the unit circle to study. So, and then the other nice thing is they can make this larger if they want to make it larger. So these are just like a sample of things that I've done with some of my students in my classroom. And how do I turn it back? There we go. Okay. Those are just a sample of some of the things that I've done with my students in my classroom. Like I said, the sending homework home in a technology form this year is new for me, so I've had to create more resources than what I've had in the past because I do want them to use their Chromebooks, but I also want them to use them for their benefit. I don't want to just give them a PowerPoint to read because, you know, I can print that out. The kinds of things I wanted to create were things that I thought would help the students utilize the same types of technology they will use beyond my classroom.
Very nice, Heather. I have a question just because I have, I think math teachers in our district are some of, are really, wanting some ideas on ways that they can use the Chromebooks more and more. The one question I always get is how, you always want students to show their work. That's part of the process. So with the Chromebooks, how do you make students show their work?
Well, they have to type it. I'll click back over, actually, to a document just so we can work inside of a Google Doc. So I'm going to share my screen again, and I'll click back over to just this document because I just made a copy of it anyways. One of the things that I'll have students do is I will, let's say, if you go to Insert Equation, this Google Docs has equation editor just like Word does, just like the math type that we're used to. If you are that old that you used math type before equation editor was free. But what I will do is, let's say I have students and I want them to use the quadratic formula, for example. So if I have students and I want them to use the quadratic formula, what I will do is I will create the formula for them, and then what they can do is throughout the rest of the document, they can just copy it, paste it, and change what they need to, and it takes a little bit of the edge off for students to actually find all the buttons and put them all in the right spot, because it is a little bit cumbersome for the students to get used to using equation editor in Google Docs. So I feel like the more we can do, the better. So I'll do something like this. And oftentimes what I'll do is I will do like number 1 before I give the students the assignment. So I won't only just do the formula, but then I'll show all my work for number 1. And what's really nice is then the students can look at everything that I've done and all the steps that I've done, and then they can show the same amount of steps electronically. So
Hey,
I feel
Heather,
like that takes a...
can you make that, I'm sorry, can you make that a little bit bigger for us? Thank you.
Or no.
Or not. That's cool too. Is it because you might be, because it's in your suggesting
Am I
mode?
still in suggesting mode?
You are.
I apologize. Okay.
It's all good.
Okay, let's see if I can make that one bigger. There we go.
There we go.
So what I'll do is, I'll give them this, and then I'll fill it in for them for, problem 1, or we'll do it together in class. A lot of what I have been telling my students is I don't really give them like a ton of homework on Google Drive or electronically. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll give them the paper assignment, and then we'll practice typing it. And then I'll give them another paper assignment, and we'll practice typing it. And then maybe like once a week I'll give them an assignment where I will only take it electronically. So I don't really feel like we have to dive headfirst into the pool. I don't think it's very safe either. And just tell them, okay, now you have to do everything electronically, because it does create a big problem for the students when you put that much stress on top of the fact that the math sometimes is just hard. But I have also told my students it's not going away. It's going to be more frequent throughout the year. So, the quicker you can get at utilizing the technology, the better off you are. I know Michelle was in my classroom the first time that some of my Algebra 1 students had to do some major technology and math all at once. And they were kind of hem-hawing about, well, we don't know how to use this. We can't do this for homework. And my response was, if I bought you an iPhone 6 Plus today and gave it to you, you would know how to use it by tomorrow morning. And they said, okay, and they left without any other groans. So I do think there's value in having them type it, but I also think this early in them using technology and Chromebooks in a mathematics classroom, if we can take a little bit of the edge off by giving them some of the resources and then slowly taking them away, it's better.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Awesome ideas. I love the Google Drawing idea. That's great.
Yeah, that's really awesome, Heather. Thank you very much. It was interesting being in that classroom, as somebody who's kind of not math efficient, it was more of the tech in the room, because the kids were trying their hardest, and it was actually, they were having more trouble with the GeoGebra, with, it wasn't moving, it would actually kind of adjust their screens and things. So I was there, and we kind of brainstormed what was going on, and we realized they had to click out of the graph and back in before we let them just use the sliders, and that was the whole issue. So sometimes just teaching them the technology and having those training wheels and training the kids, here's how you use this, will kill a lot of the frustration that they have. So that's kind of the nice thing about, being on campus. I can jump into Heather's room when she needs me. The gym teacher at the high school asked me to pop in today, and I hung out with them, and we started on our project there, and it's going well. We just, you got to train them so that we can kill some of those frustrations. So, well, I'm going to hop over to Kim Knapp, who is one of our high school English teachers. Kim is fabulous. Let me just tell you, she has been rocking and rolling with a lot of the online rubrics to use with her documents, because her kids type a lot of papers and things. And, I was first introduced to Google as a student myself, and then I pulled it in when I taught AP Language and Composition. We were not a Google App school at the school I was at. So I just forced all my kids onto Google, and I had my inbox was just full of papers. I had 70 students, 8 papers apiece by the end. It was nuts. So being able to deal with all that and trying to grade that and give good feedback online without printing a single paper is difficult. So Kim, if you would tell us a little bit about how you kind of deal with all that and how you give feedback to your students without printing anything, that'd be great.
Okay. Thanks, Michelle. Hi, this is Kim Knapp, and I am a teacher at Woodridge High School in Peninsula, Ohio. I am in my, I believe, 18th year of teaching, and I teach grades 9 through 12 here at Woodridge, and in addition to that, I also teach drama and speech. And that just kind of changes on a year-to-year basis. So I never know what I'll be teaching from year to year. But as an English teacher, whether you're an English teacher or you know English teachers, you know that their life is spent grading essays. Every possible waking second, you stop at a traffic light, oh my gosh, I can read a sentence, or just wherever you go, you're always carrying a giant bag of endless papers. And so obviously, with that in mind, I'm always looking for the easiest way out of that abyss. And with Google Apps, I've noticed that it's become much less daunting than it was before. Now, it's taken me a while because, there's that whole learning curve of trying to experiment with the different apps that are available on Google Chrome, to find out what works best for me, and of course, how to work the apps in the first place. So a lot of it's been trial and error. So what I will show you would be just a couple of ways that I evaluate, assess, grade essays, and kind of give you an idea of how they work, and can help you decide on what you, or I should say, what's most comfortable for you. Basically, what it is, it's trial and error. You'll learn your own little niche of how it fits for you. But let's see, the first thing we'll take a look at, I'll show you an essay, a graded student. Now, I've changed the names to protect the innocent here. And can everybody see the screen okay?
No, are you sharing your screen, Kim?
Oh.
So mouse over to the left side, and a menu should pop up.
They want it. Oh, which one do I go to? Google Hangouts, link to Hangout for no, or internal display? Which one?
Internal display, probably.
Whoa.
Yeah, so click over to another tab in your browser, and it will get rid of that.
All right.
There we go.
Everybody see that?
Yep.
Okay. So this is it's a real student, but the name has again been changed to protect their identity. I'm just going to show you how this whole thing works and how I come about with giving them their grades. There's a number of different programs that you can use. The first one, I would say, when you're going to grade an essay is you're going to want to have, of course, a grading rubric. Now, there's a couple of different routes that you can go with grading rubrics. You would go up to first your add-ons, and then you would go down to get add-ons. And the first one I'm going to show you is one that's called Orange Slice. And it's a rubric creator. And so I already have it downloaded, but basically you're just going to click on it, and you're just going to click on where it says free, and then you are going to allow it to have permissions to access students' papers. So once you're all ready, what you're going to do then is You'll see it where it says right here, orange slice. It'll finally be up on your add-ons. So you'll go over to Score Rubric. And of course, it's got an update.
Telling you, Google throws stuff every way you can.
Okay, so once you open it up, you will see over on the sidebar, it will have a number of different options for you. The first, of course, would be your settings. Now, you can go by, if you want to go an analysis, let's say that you're looking for a particular thing in their papers, you know, you're looking for the structure, grammar, content, parenthetical citation, whatever it is that you want to look for. Or you can go with the holistic grading, which is just looking at the whole paper as a whole and assigning a grade. You can also assign any amount of points that you want here. And you want your category points to go by numbers or letter grades, A through D minus. Okay? And then once you've punched in all of that information, once you've entered that, you're going to go to grades, and it will give you. Now, what I did here was, you know what, I probably should show you, well, what you're going to want to do for the first time with a paper. Okay, let me just pull up just a blank document.
While you're doing that, I just want to kind of cut in for a second. This can be used with anything that you do in a Google Doc. So maybe you're not necessarily doing, you know, a 3-page paper or 5 paragraphs, all that happiness.
Right.
Maybe you're just having, you know, your students are creating something in a doc. You can absolutely use rubrics in it. So this is not just an English tool, if you will. It should be able to be used cross-curriculum.
Right. I mean, like if you're in your science class, for example, and you know, you're working on a hypothesis with your partners in your lab, and you have to come up with the findings of your hypothesis, and you know, you maybe have to do it, you know, by providing, you know, some evidence and the results. It doesn't matter what it is. You can create a rubric for anything, like Michelle said. So let's just say blah, whatever. Okay, I'm gonna I am going to now apply a rubric to this. So I'm gonna go to add-ons, go back down to orange slice, and we're gonna score this as a rubric. Now this time I have not yet created a rubric. On the other paper that I just showed you, this one's already been graded. I've already created a rubric. So that's why you see all this rigmarole, and that's why you see, notice what you see right here. Okay, these are the categories of the rubric. So now let's go back to the untitled document here. And this is where you're going to create your rubric. So you're going to, again, just like before, you're going to pick your performance levels. You want it to go from A down to, you know, the dreaded, or do you want to go ascending and go the other way? So I'll go descending. You can go with the basic performance levels of A, B, C, D, F. You can go by categories of, oops, let's go back to that. You can go by categories of great, good, average. You can create your own. You know, you can import, you can put in little, like, I'm not going to say, well, you can kind of do little clip art things. I haven't really experimented with that much, but mostly what I do is I just kind of create my own, because I know what criteria that I want to use. Okay, and then you can break it down into different categories. It has some that are already made up for you for writing, ideas, sentence fluency, vocabulary conventions, organization, or if you're like, no, I'm not doing any of this, you know, because I'm going to do it for, you know, the student's hypothesis, then you would just make up your own, or you can just do completion. And the answers that the student gave you would be correct. So I'm just going to go, okay, well-supported ideas, sentence fluency, conventions. whatever you want. And I'm going to add a blank row where I'll make my own. Okay, and then you simply click on Create Rubric. And then the magic of technology. Okay. Alrighty.
This is a perfect time to tell you. Oh, sorry. This is the perfect time to tell you to test it first.
Okay, well, that's amazing.
That's all good.
Come on. Okay, that's funny because I just did this earlier today and everything was fine. Let's see. Create a rubric. Okay, so let's go back to when your rubric's all created.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, it'll automatically show up right on the student's document. So here are my categories. I broke down a 5-paragraph essay. Here's the criteria for great, good, average, needs more, or not ready. Okay, so then as you go down through and you're assessing the student's essay, you simply just click, yep, this is a great, no, it's a good, it's an average, needs more, or meh, not ready. Okay, so then you go to the next paragraph, you're going to do the same thing, and then when you're all finished, it will automatically, you will just click Process Grade, and it will post your grade right at the top. Oh, and it just said I graded this, even though I didn't. And so what it'll show you is it'll create this little box right here at the very top of your paper, and it will show the date that you graded it. Now, because I asked it to process it again, it'll show the date, and if you don't want that on there, you know, because maybe you waited till the last second to grade, you can delete that, and you don't want them to know that. So you can delete that.
That's the best lesson tonight, right there.
I agree.
There you go.
How do you hide that teachers are procrastinators too?
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So you do not have to have that on there. And then the other thing it will also do is it will automatically highlight the points that they earned. So in their first paragraph they got a 9, the second they got a 9, third, fourth, and fifth. So it adds it all up for you and gives you your percentage.
Kim,
And
I
then
have
you
a question about this.
Yes.
I know when I use Rubric to grade, if I regrade it, it puts another rubric at the bottom. Does this one change the existing rubric if you like change the grade?
Yes.
Okay.
This changes it. Yep.
Okay.
If you, yep, you can change it and manipulate the numbers any way that you want here. So just because it says this here doesn't mean it has to stay this. You can adjust it any way that you want. And then the other thing that it does, if you look up here in the top in what the file is saved as, it will also state that the paper's graded, and it'll show how many points they got out of the 50, and it shows points possible right here in this column. So it will show them how many points that they earned and their grade, and it will show them that it is graded. And then it'll also email it back to the student if you want it to. The other thing that I also add, and like I said, I experimented. If you looked at all these students' papers, they all look completely different when I was grading essays the first time around because I tried some different programs. Another thing that I also did on this student's paper, and you're probably wondering, is why all the weird colors? Okay, that's a totally different app. Now this is where if you're like, you know what, I need to give more feedback, but I don't feel like doing this. So if you look over here, these are all the comments that you can add, and I'm pretty sure everybody already knows how to do that, where you just go to insert a comment, you just highlight whatever you want to talk about, and then you can type in here. So this is a lot of work right here, okay, but we want to work smart, not hard. So another thing, another app I should say, that I utilize is what's called Kaizena Mini. And if you look right here at the top of the student's paper, this will show on the student's paper once you've attached or utilized, I should say, the Kaizena Mini app on this paper. And what Kaizena Mini is basically it's a tool to give teachers the opportunity to provide audio feedback, so to save your poor little fingers from typing and typing and typing. So what you simply do to utilize this is, again, you're going to go up to add-ons, you're going to go to get add-ons, and then you're going to type in Kaizena, which, thank you, Michelle, for telling me how to pronounce this.
You're so welcome.
Okay, and then all you're going to do is you're going to download the Kaizena Mini app, and then it will automatically be listed in your add-ons at the top of your toolbar. So you'll go down to Kaizena Mini, and you'll simply go to Open.
Okay, while that's loading, I'm going to interrupt again.
Sure.
Sorry, somebody's volume is crazy loud. My Woodridge folks, this app right this second is not in the Woodridge App Store yet. I will be putting it in this evening so that your students can add it to their own papers so that they're able to get the feedback that they need.
Okay.
Can't get the add-ons?
Pardon me?
Aren't all of the add-ons available?
I thought Kaizena was finally available on there, because the kids actually, Michelle, it is working because the kids all listen to their audio feedback.
Cool. All right, we're good then.
So it's all good. Kaizena is up and running. Okay, so now here is what the feedback looks like when it's all finished. But I'm just going to show you quickly how you can utilize it on a student's paper. So let me just snag something here. Oh. Let's go back to that. I'll just go to this again. Okay, so I'm going to go to add-ons. Kaizena Mini. I'm going to open it. So this is a document that I have not yet applied any audio feedback to. So right now it's going to ask you, are you giving feedback or are you receiving feedback? Now, teachers, you'll be giving the feedback. Students, when they open up Kaizena Mini and they want to be able to hear the audio comments, they're going to click I'm receiving. Teachers are going to be giving the feedback. Okay, and then I'll say who's receiving the feedback, and this is where you can add the student's name if it's not listed. Because this is my document, it's automatically going to send the feedback to myself, obviously. But if this was another student's paper, it would automatically send the feedback, the audio feedback, to that student. And you can also add other people as well. Let's say you want their parent to also hear the comments. You can also just click on add, and then you can type in their email address as well. And that will give them access to also hear the audio comments. Okay, and then you just click continue. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go to new feedback. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to highlight whatever it is that you want to talk about. Oops. Okay, so you're going to, oops, thought I highlighted it. So you're going to highlight, let's say I just want to talk about, they have quite a few sentences here. All right. So much work. All right, so let's say I just want to talk about this. So I'm going to go new feedback. Okay. Now, it'll automatically show right here what it is that I have highlighted. Now, if you're a visual learner like me, you can also alter your colors. You can change that to that, that, or that, which you'll see if you look at one of my students' graded essays. I took each paragraph, and each paragraph goes by a different color. So that's how I did it there. All right, so then very simply, if you want also, you can enter a skill, like let's say on this sentence you were just looking at the skill of grammar. You know, you could type that in there if you want. It doesn't matter. You can also add some other feedback that you want, a text comment. You can also link. Let's say there's a specific lesson that you want them to use. You can attach a lesson that maybe you have in your Google Docs, and that way they can go right to that and get a specific lesson for whatever that skill is. Okay. But the big thing we want to hear is, how does the audio feedback work? All right, so I've highlighted, this is exactly what I'm going to talk about. So all you're going to do is very simply, and you're going to want to make sure your microphone's turned on, and it'll ask you, just like it did when you go into the Google chat rooms, the Google Hangouts, you know, it'll ask you to allow permission to use your microphone. So you very simply click on the microphone, and then you begin recording. And so blah, 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 blah. Now, it will give you a minute, 29 seconds to record. And it'll start flashing when you get close to the time so that you know. And then when you're finished, stop. And then automatically that audio is right there. Now let's say you want to talk for more than a minute 29 seconds, which I do. Then very simply, well, it depends on the paper. Like I tell my students, you know, I said the more of these recordings you see on here, the worse your grade is probably going to be. Because basically what you want to hear is, oh my gosh, you did such a great job on this. It's amazing. Let's go on to the next thing. So let's say you have a lot more to say than what a minute 29 covers. Not a problem. You just click on the recording again. Start recording, and blah, 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 yada, yada. You got another minute 29 seconds. You can just keep adding on to here forever. If you want to talk for 5 hours about this one sentence, you go right ahead. Okay, so then let's say you want to go to another sentence and talk about something. Oops. Again, you're going to highlight whatever it is you want to talk about. New feedback again. And this time I want my color to be different so they don't clash there. I'm going to change that one to that color. Enter a skill, spelling if I want. I don't even use these, but you can if you want to do all the extra work. But, I mean, you really don't need to enter any skill unless you want to, but you're going to talk about it in the audio anyways. Remember, the whole idea of this is to work smart, not hard. So, again, click the audio, start recording, yada, 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 yada. Okay, so it's all finished. And when you're done, you're done. Once you exit out of here, the student will receive their document emailed back to them, and again, it will say this at the top of their paper. Now, if they want to hear the comments that I'd made, okay, all they need to do is they're going to click on these colored bars. They're going to click there, and they simply press the play button. And blah, 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 blah. This is next comment.
So blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
That's good.
All right. So then what it looks like in real life. Here's a sample student's essay. So you can see here. There's a few comments here, and so I just go down through.
Hello, Ibrahim. Okay, let's take a look at your first paragraph. Now, what I'm going to look for is that you first.
Okay, here's another one.
Your first paragraph, also known as the introduction, begins with.
Okay.
Good.
There we go. So there's that one. Does anyone have any questions about that?
That's great.
All right. So let's get out of here. All right. Was there anything else? Did you want me, Michelle, to show them the Doctopus as well?
If you just want to pull up a Gubrick, do you have one that you can just show how it shows on the screen, maybe?
The Doctopus here somewhere.
As she's pulling that up, I'll kind of preface this. Orange Slice is really great, but it can be a little bit of a pain because you kind of have to reproduce the rubric for each paper, whereas Gubrick, which pairs up with Doctopus, both are add-ons, by the way, for docs,
Right.
will let you go through basically an entire stack of papers.
Yes.
So your kids can turn it in to Classroom, and then you can pull it in using Doctopus into Gubrick and just go through an entire class, just really quick.
I'm going to jump in there too because I actually do use Doctopus and Gubrick for math homework assignments when I have them type in their homework after we've done it together. I use just a 5-4-3-0 grading rubric, and it's just my homework rubric. So I use what Kim is getting ready to show you quite frequently in the math classroom for grading. And like Michelle said, you don't have to recreate the rubric. You could just have one that says homework rubric, and it's a 5-point rubric. So it is nice.
Oh, yeah. Well, do you want to show for that then? Because that's, I mean, basically I'm just going to go through Doctopus and Gubrick pretty much work the same way as Kaizena and Orange Slice rubric maker. The only difference is they're more streamlined because they work simultaneously together. I wanted to see it for the homework. I mean, because that's another interesting way. What is anyone opposed to that?
Like
No, that would be great.
I mean, do you? Oh, did I just put you on the spot? I'm sorry. Okay, let me hold on. Okay, never mind. I'll pull up my Gubrick. Hold on, let me find one on here.
Do you have one? I think I might have one if you don't.
Oh, do you have one? Oh, great.
I might have one. Let me dig and see. Let's see here. Because I think it's one that you and I worked on.
Oh, okay. That would be amazing. That was actually what I was going to hope you were going to tell me when we got to that part. I started off, okay, here was the whole problem. I started off using Doctopus and Gubrick, which, again, Doctopus and Gubrick, it's a grading rubric, and it also has a voice recorder attached to it. But I got a little disappointed because when I was doing my audio feedback on Gubrick/Doctopus, the problem was it didn't let me know that it had stopped recording. And so because of that, I just went on and on and on and on and on, and then I saw that it will only record 45 seconds at a time. But it didn't tell me that it had stopped recording. So that's why I said, oh. So, but I do plan on, after Michelle and I worked together and she showed me a little bit more about Doctopus and Gubrick, I became a little bit more open to trying it again. But as of our last meeting, I haven't really had the complete opportunity because I have a student teacher right now who was unable to be a part of this Google Hangout tonight, but she's done quite a bit more with it than I have. So go ahead, Michelle.
Okay. Angela, if you want to give me control, that would be cool.
Sure.
Love to give
Thank
you
you, ma'am. So let me share this with you. Okay, so just to correct myself earlier, the Doctopus add-on is actually in Sheets. So I'm a little bit rusty, so hang tight with me. So it's, again, under add-ons, Kim showed you earlier how you can get add-ons. If you are unsure how to do this, Woodridge, come to me. I'd be happy to help you. Eric and Brian, of course, are always available as well. And then Angela, I'm sure you and your tech guys are available on your end of things. Let's see here. So, add-ons, Flubaroo. I went to.
I was saying Gubrick. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all. Oh, not Flubaroo. Oh my goodness, guys, it's getting late. Doctopus. Here we go. So you open up Doctopus, and it pops up with this over here. This nice little sidebar. And what's cool is that you just tie the rubric through Gubrick on here. You have it as I believe as a sheet, right, Kim? Am I thinking right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, even before that, when you create a new one, it will automatically ingest/import your entire class roster from your Google Classroom, which you guys are going to be using here simultaneously with all of these apps, of course. But once you have your Google Classroom up and running and your students have all joined your classes, that is when you're going to be able to actually ingest your roster, which is going to save you a lot of time because you won't have to type in everyone's first and last name and their email. And again, it will also email the students their grade, the rubric, and any audio comments that you attach as well.
Which is really nice. Like I was saying earlier, when I was doing AP in another district at an old job of mine, and I had all these papers. I had 70 kids turning in papers to my email. My email was blown up. My shared with me folder was a nightmare in Drive. I had to constantly search for kids and look for their paper, and if they didn't name it right or if they didn't whatever, and then I was printing off rubrics and writing their grades on there while giving them feedback online. It was messy. It was really messy. So Gubrick and Doctopus together kind of give you a little bit more options, and then the Kaizena, which I think Angela has taught to Nordonia, Woodridge. We will be doing boot camps on that soon. It really is pretty nice. So with Doctopus, in this example, I've already created the rubric. I've already ingested from Classroom. If you have already done this once and you're looking to see if kids are late, they did late submissions, you can always click look for new submissions, and it will actually pull it from Classroom, which is pretty sweet. So I've got my list here, and you'll see there is a link right here that says Assess Document. So you just click on that, click out to the link, and so what it should do, and it just asks for my microphone. So what's nice about Gubrick is that it puts the rubric up here across the top. So it's not really on the side, whereas, Orange Slice was kind of nice because you could build the rubric kind of on the fly. So you could just type it all in there, and there you go. Whereas Doctopus and Gubrick would actually have it right here. So we've got Jon Snow's paper. Again, I'm just like Kim. This is a real live AP composition paper. As you can see, it's been a hot minute since I've had it, but I've changed I've changed the students' names to protect an innocent. And let's be honest, Jon Snow, he knows nothing. So basically, you just click through the different things. So my introduction paragraph, I want to give them a 3. And as soon as I click on that, you'll see it pops it in here. And you just go through each one, and you just grade it. And you just go through. And then you can give them comments, and then you hit submit. And if you look, you can actually email the scores right to them. You can set it up so it advances on submit, whatever you want to do. But you hit submit, and then you click next, and you go right to the next student. So unlike Orange Slice, where you have to go into the next students and pull up the rubric and all that happy mess, Gubrick actually just pulls it from Classroom, lines it all up, kind of like you had a stack of papers in front of you, and just lets you fly right through it. But you still have all your Google stuff that you can add. You can go suggesting, you can add comments, you can whatever you need to do right in there.
Right.
So,
and the audio. Oh, and then don't forget about the audio too.
Right.
I'm a lover of the audio.
Oh yeah, gotta love the audio. If you haven't noticed, Kim's a talker, I'm a talker, we're talkers over here at Woodridge, so we like our audio feedback. So Kim, you said though, how long did it give you to record?
It was 45 seconds I found out that it finally cut me off. So just be aware on your own. The only thing is it doesn't give you like the big warning. Like I said, I've warmed to it, and I plan on I have a new stack of papers coming in this Friday. I'm going to help my student teacher grade again. Yay. So I plan on grading them using Gubrick or excuse me, why do I keep saying Gubrick? Doctopus, and what is the one it works with?
Gubrick. You were right.
Okay, I was right. All right, I want to make sure. Gubrick/Doctopus. I am going to take them for a spin again.
Definitely. And no matter what you use, my biggest hint for you is to try it early. Tell the kids you're trying something new if you're going to do it on their papers, and just, you're asking for patience because, you're learning this too. And we're all new to Chromebooks. We all have our training wheels on, and you're going to mess up, and that's okay. You can always fix it.
The other thing with this app, and I think Kim and I were talking about this early, is it doesn't add up the scores for you.
Mm-hmm.
So what I actually do is, as I'm grading them, the very first thing I write in the comment box is the total, so that I don't have to go back and add them all up when I'm done. So just a heads up, if you're going to have more than one category, you have to add those up as you go, because it doesn't add them for you, and that's one of the things that Orange Slice did for you. So that was kind of nice.
That's true.
Right. That's right. I totally forgot about that. You're absolutely right.
Yeah, I've just been telling our teachers to create like the formula in Google Sheets that will add it together.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of, I don't know why they haven't thought of that yet. But.
Right.
I'm sure it's coming. They update like every 2 days or 2 hours sometimes.
Right.
True.
So, Kim, I have a question for you real quickly. So, do you feel like grading online is, because you've been teaching, for a lot of years, grading online, do you feel like it takes more time, or do you feel like it takes about the same or less?
Well, now that I know what I'm doing, it definitely takes less time. I say a lot less on the audio. The one I just showed you, that was when I was first trying it out. But, as I got my groove on, then everything was much more streamlined, and I was just zipping right through the papers. So I really anticipate with this new stack of papers and using the Doctopus that it's going to be even faster. It's just like I said, it's a learning curve. I mean, it took me a while at first, to the point that I was like worried that parents were going to start emailing saying well, and the kids were asking me, but I just told them be patient, and and I spoke to our principal because I was worried, and I said, hey, here's what's happening. I'm not getting the quick turnaround on the essays because I've been experimenting with these different apps. And he said, that's completely fine. We're looking for quality, not just quantity. And because of this feedback, I think that they're just getting so much more from the papers. And it's also nice because, normally when you hand a paper back, what do? 9 times out of 10, they throw it in the trash. And they don't read over and learn from any of the feedback. So now you'll always have a copy, so you can go back and see if they're reoccurring, if they're consistently repeating the same types of errors in whatever it is, the assignment that you've given them, and you can hold them more accountable for that. And it's also nice because it keeps parents much more aware. On their papers, the parents can, actually hear the comments themselves if they want. With the Doctopus, the students can also give the links to their parents, and then their parents can also see their graded assessments as well.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thanks for sharing those ideas. Those are great. I know our teachers are really they're kind of mixed because they want this. They still want students to print, and some teachers still want students to be able to, to edit, documents that are on paper and that type of thing. But they're slowly kind of transitioning, and like Michelle says, they have the training wheels on. They're slowly going in that direction. So so I think these two tools are great. So thank you for sharing those.
Certainly.
We are slowly running. Well, we ran out of time, but it's been really good. I was wondering if Angela and Heather and Kim, before we end our Know How Nordonia for the evening, if you could give one tip in terms of classroom management with the Chromebooks. One tip that you would give our teachers about managing Chromebooks in the classroom. You want to start off, Heather?
Oh, okay. I have a couple of phrases that I use with students just to make sure that they're on task. So one of the things I tell students is you can only have the tab open that we're working on. They have to close every other tab on their computer because they're very good at switching back and forth, and it's a really easy thing for me to see and manage is that they only have one tab open. And the other thing I do is close your lids. So close your Chromebook when I need to make sure that I have your undivided attention, and it gives me a visual that they're actually paying attention and they're not trying to finish typing their English paper for Mrs. Knapp in another tab.
Okay, very good, very good.
All right.
Kim, you're still sharing your screen.
Oh. Let me get off of that.
So we can't see you. Okay, there you go.
Fix it? All right.
Okay.
Okay. Sorry, I'm hiding in my bedroom because, like I said, that's the only place I can do by myself. I'm not interrupted. So sorry to look at all the fluffiness. I think, let's see, the biggest tips, well, I'll tell you what your biggest problems you're going to encounter with the Google Chromebooks is students bringing them to class and they're not charged. So what are they doing? They're roaming around, actually unplugging your plugs from your outlets to plug in and charge their own Chromebooks. So I tell them, look, I know you charged your phone last night. I guarantee you charged that. So you need to also have your Chromebook charged. And so I hold them accountable. Not having a charged Chromebook in class is akin to not bringing, materials to class. Because everything I've done this year, and this is the first year, is, I've gone completely paperless this year. So obviously, when they take quizzes and their Chromebook's not charged and they're looking for an outlet, we have a problem. So another thing that I did in my class, this is kind of mean, but to help with the classroom management is, first of all, I put those, those little protectors for babies put in the outlets. Yeah, I have those in my outlets in the classroom, the baby protector outlets, so that, they can't sneak and plug into there. The other thing I do, and this is a little sketchy maybe, but what I do was I have students that are upperclassmen who have a study hall, and they actually come to my classes. And I usually have 2 students per class period, and they sit at the back of the class, and they spy on, this is really bad, but they spy on my kids to keep them on task. Because I'm going to be honest with you, it's so hard to, I don't know how anybody could possibly keep running around and make sure that everyone's, playing the game or chatting with their friends or looking at Nike shoes. So what I do is I have these little spies, and they just give me at the end of the class period. I have a seating chart that they write on. It's a dry erase, and they just jot on there. Blah 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 was looking at shoes. Yada yada was looking at cars, and I told the kids, because I write this on their participation points. In the grade book, I wrote, oh, you just lost points today because you were looking at Nike shoes. And so they say, oh, well, how do you know that? And so I kind of fibbed and told them that I have an app on there that shows me what they're doing in the class. And I don't, you know how kids are. They're so gullible. Okay, what are we in? We're in December.
Well, they do. They are
And they have not figured out that those two kids, upperclassmen in the back of the room, are the spies. Come on. No, they really think that I have an app that can see what they're doing. So it really hasn't been a problem after I busted them so many times and I knew exactly what they were looking at. You know, oh, I saw you were looking at, you know, the new Nissan 300ZX. Off task, minus 5 points for participation. You know that. So those are my tips. The big thing is there's a learning curve. You know, if you're willing to embrace technology, which I'm a techie, I'm a geek anyways, so I was easy to, you know, I grasped to it like a, you know, a duck to water. But, you know, you're going to have people who are, you know, they're going to be terrified of it. We have them at our school. They're still reluctant, you know. Like Michelle said, they haven't, you know, drank the Kool-Aid yet. So, but I think once you do drink that Kool-Aid, it's really going to streamline things for you.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Thank you. And I hope none of your students watch this.
I know, right?
Oh, wait, are they? No, why would they ever look at, they're not going to look at this.
No.
Oh, Mrs. Lap is on YouTube. Let's watch this.
Okay, and then do you have any tips you'd like to share?
Yeah, it's the same thing I think that everyone else has said. Teaching middle school kids, it's difficult to keep them from playing games or, you know, searching Target. I saw Target today, you know, Christmas gifts. Just kind of circulating around the room and making sure they're staying on task. And also telling them that you can look at their history within Google Chrome, and that kind of deters them. Same thing Heather said, you know, when I'm up talking, it's, you know, Chromebooks are closed. You can't, otherwise they're searching and doing something completely off task and not where they're supposed to be. So just kind of making sure your classroom management is the same thing, I guess, as what you would normally do, is, you know, walk around the room and make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, well, ladies, I have to say thank you so much for joining us and giving up some of your Tuesday night to help to work with us and collaborate with us. And we hope that we could do something like this in the future, so that we can kind of keep the conversation going and keep the ideas going. You know, you guys are so close to us, so it just makes a lot of sense that we kind of stay, you know, in the network together. Michelle, is anything you wanted to mention as we close out?
Sure. I just, you know, thank you very much for joining us. I know we ran quite a bit over time, but that's okay. You know, the thing with the Chromebooks, you know, all the ladies here have done a fantastic job in implementing these and really using them in their classrooms. And just give yourself a break. You have training wheels on. Your kids will have training wheels on. It will come, and the more authentic you make your assignments and the more engaged that they are, the less they'll be on Target, the less they'll be on Nike, you know, during your class. And if nothing else, just hire some of the upperclassmen to come spy on your children.
If all else fails, yep, there you go.
Just hire some upperclassmen. It's fine. And you know, with the charging thing, we are kind of battling that as a district. You know, it's K-12. Some of them remember, some of them don't. I was sassing some high schoolers today, and I said to them, you know, I have little 6th graders who charge their Chromebook every single night, and yet here you are. What's wrong with you, you know? And a lot of times I'll say, you need to brush your teeth, you need to wash your face, and you need to plug in your Chromebook every single school night. Because, guys, they have a 9-hour charge. There should be no reason for you to be begging for a charger. Right. So I did have a 6th grader tell me that she plugs in her phone, plugs in her Chromebook, and then puts the phone on top of the Chromebook so that she knows it's charging and she doesn't forget to bring it every single day. So that's what I got. So good luck. Be patient. You are welcome. Anybody, Woodridge or Nordonia, I'm open to questions. You are welcome to email me, Google Hangout, whatever you want to do.
Right. Thank you very much. And like I tell our teachers, It's only December, so if you think of how far we've come since August, since we've all started the one-to-one program in both districts, I mean, we've come a really, really long way in a short amount of time. So, so I think we should all be really proud of ourselves, be proud of the baby steps we're taking, you know, and it's really good to see that, you know, we're all in this together. So that's nice to see too. So thank you for joining us again. Michelle has my email to any Woodridge people, so feel free to email me if you have any, you know, questions about what Nordonia is doing, or if you have any ideas that you want to share with us. We're always open to that, and we hope to work with you in the future. This is going to go ahead and conclude our Know How Nordonia for this evening. Thank you again for joining us, and thanks again for watching, those viewers that are watching this after it's gone live. And we will see you again next time. Take care, ladies.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us.